All right, guys, I want to apologize. Something happened. I noticed it kind of earlier when I was looking down at the DVDs or the movies here I got. I had no connection when I got halfway through the video, and it only uploaded 13 minutes, which is weird. That's not the only time it's happened, but we're going to make this smooth and nice and quick here. So, the Psycho film franchise, we're not going to include the Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn, since I don't really want to talk about that again going through this, but it's an all right film. I'll have to check it out. Uh, uh, I mean, Vince Vaughn to me really doesn't match the persona of Norman Bates like Anthony Perkins did. But another thing I didn't like about Psycho remake was the house was very, very different. But it's expected because they're going to do things differently remakes. Um, but before we do, let's jump into the for Anthony Perkins Psycho films, which are the best ones, the best of the best. I'm starting off with the original Psycho from 1960, which I got right here. Great film. Stars, of course, Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, which is Marion Crane. She is also the real life mother of Jim Lee Curtis, or in other words, that's Janet Leigh's Jim Lee's mom. So just try to do some kind of interesting there to say it in a couple different ways there. Vera Miles as Lila Crane. Just great stuff, man. I mean, Marion Crane has to deposit money, and she ends up running off the money. She buys a car, and she's on the run. She thinks her boss might have seen her, and she ends up, like I say, takes off. Cop is following her, thinks she's very, very suspicious. She ends up going to the Bates Motel. So she meets Norman Bates there, and from there, things go on, and then Lila and Sam Loomis end up hiring a private investigator, or got a private investigator, or the family of the guy that they took the money from is hiring a private investigator because they just want the money back. They don't want to press anything. There's only two kills in the original film. It's more of like a suspense thriller film more than a slasher, because when we get to the sequels, they become slashers. Pretty much from what I've seen, that part 3 becomes almost a full-on, fledged-on slasher film. So Norman, it is disguised that it is revealed that Norman is the one that's doing the killings. He shows up in his mother's clothes. He mimics his mother's voice, pretends to be her, walks like her, all that stuff. Then he gets locked away after him being caught. And it's 22 years later, and the events of Psycho 2. This time around, we do have joining Anthony Perkins in this film is none other than Robert Loga, who plays Dr. Raymond. He was also in Big with Tom Hanks. We also got May Tilly, which is the older sister of Jennifer Tilly, playing Mary. And then the return of Vera Miles as Lila Crane. In this film, she was married to Sam. She got married to Sam Loomis, so it's Lila Loomis. Just some great stuff with this film. This time around, Norman Bates is the victim in this. He is not the killer, unless we get to the end. We do find out who the killer is, who is dressing up as Norman Bates. It is none other than Mrs. Spool. She pretends to be Norman's real mother, not Norma. We do find out in the third one that is not the case. Emma Spool was actually nutty herself, whacked out, tripped out. This film, the ending of it is, let's go ahead and for this instance, Lila Loomis wants to go ahead and have Norman stay locked up forever. She doesn't want him out. And then her and her daughter, Mary, try that. They dress up in Norman's mother's clothes, pretend to be her, to pretend to call. all that stuff to make him go wacko again. Um, but it doesn't really work. It starts to work a little bit because he starts to kind of lose his insanity and stuff. Um, the climax I thought was really, really well done was when Mary dressed up as Norma to try to convince Norman that Norma is alive. I am your mother and stuff like that. And then when Mary gets downstairs into the cellar and part of the coal that comes off, it reveals Lila's body. Mary does think that Norman did it, and that's when the cops rush in, and then Lila raises the knife up like this, and then the police shoot her, and then that was it. And then Norman basically gets a visit from Mrs. Spool, and Mrs. Spool tells him doesn't Spool doesn't Spool mean anything to you? And no, I should. It was your mother's maiden name. It was Norma's maiden name. She tried to fool Norman, thinking that Norma was not Norman's mom, that Emma was his biological mother. We find out in 3 it was originally Norma as the mom, and Spool was the tripped out, whacked out. Is the tripped out, whacked out one we find out near the end of Psycho 2. So we get to Psycho 3. We get Diane Scarwood, who plays Maureen Coyle. She's a troubled nun, and she ends up accidentally killing one of the nuns by accident. And she ends up leaving the comet that's like out in the middle of nowhere in the desert. And then she gets picked up by Jeff Fahey's character, Dwayne Duke. Folks, you can just call me Duke. I think he was probably by far the best part of the film. I really enjoyed his performance because he ends up getting hired by Norman to work the day shift because Norman prefers the nights. He's wanting to save money to go to LA to become a rock and roll star, I believe. When Norman finally sees or encounters Maureen for the very first time, the only thing he can think of is Marion Crane, because Maureen kind of resembles Marion a little bit. The short blonde hair, the MC on the luggage or the book, not luggage, the briefcase, just some stuff there. I like this version of it because I like this version of the movie because the killings, start to happen, and this is when it becomes almost a full-on slasher film. There's a scene in there where there's a homecoming between Fairville and Central, and you got a group there for Team Central, and one of their own ends up, meeting her demise and whatnot. While all this partying is going on at the hotel, which is the most action I believe that the Bates Motel has ever had. She didn't have that because the Bates Motel pretty much closed down in 2 when Norman got released in the second film, because Norman Toomey was using it as a drug house, a fuck house, and whatnot, and I mean just stuff like that. Just some random stuff. Hey, whatever makes money, man. But yeah, I mean, in this one, Norman is the killer. We revealed that because it was revealed because he killed Emma Spool near the end of the second film. We get Julie Cummings in this as well. She was also Robin in Friday the 13th Part 5: A New Beginning. She was really good in it. I kind of liked her performance. It's it's one of those films that it's 1986, I believe this film came out, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I mean, these films are gold. The Anthony Perkins ones are gold to me. and then, of course, he gets locked away again. And basically, uh, he gets put away. And then we don't ever see him again until I was introduced to Psycho 4, the beginning. And how I get introduced to this one, to be perfectly honest, was back in the 90s, we had USA Up All Night. It was on the weekend. Back in the day, the 90s was pretty much great times. We had Monster Vision 2 on TNT. Rhonda Shear originally hosted, USA Up All Night. And then I think her contract went up, or she didn't renew the contract, or she stopped doing USA Up All Night, and then it went to Gilbert Gottfried. And it was when Gilbert Gottfried was hosting a Halloween special, is when he said, "Now we're going to get back to Psycho 4, the beginning." I'm like, Psycho 4, the beginning? I thought there was only going to be 3, but I didn't know there was a 4th one. And so we came across that. So it takes place 6 years after the events of, I believe 6 years after the events of Psycho 3. And this movie here was in 1990. Okay. So we get Anthony Perkins, of course, and he is joined by Henry Thomas. If you guys know who Henry Thomas is, he was Elliot in E.T. He was also Cody Waffle in The Quest. He was also in Cloak and Dagger, I believe that's the name. It's a movie with him and Dabney Coleman. Dabney Coleman was also in War Games. And we also get the late, great Olivia Hussey, who had just passed away, I believe, about a year and a half ago already. She did this film here also, along with the It 1990 miniseries that was directed by Tom Lee Wallace, which is a great one. I love that version of it. I'm not a fan of the theatrical version of the It movies, the 2-parter, but the Tom Lee Wallace one that was done in the 90s, I loved. I mean, you can't get any better than Tim Curry. But besides that, Olivia Hussey plays Norma Bates. I think this was really awesome. No offense to Vera Farmiga, but I love Olivia Hussey's portrayal as Norma, because we get to see Norma. We've heard about Norma, but this is the first film that we get to see what Norma was really, really like, guys. Really, really like. She was very, very controlling. Very, very. I would probably say like a maniac, maybe. Face, hope you enjoyed the live stream. This is the second take. Something happened with my connection, so I had to redo it. So I'm going to make it a little bit shorter than what I've been doing. But Norma Bates, played by Olivia Hussey, the scene in that film when she's wanting Norman to bloat her with, I don't know what that stuff is, extractor or whatever it is. He was going to go for a chest first. Just no, start at my feet. Follow the pulse. So he was going up her leg, and then all of a sudden, either she starts having like sexual sensations, because she's like sitting there like that, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you see her and Norman rolling on the floor, and then he gets on top of her, and then she smiles, and all of a sudden that smile comes off her face really, really quick, and I think Norma had like a split personality. That's what I think. Well, I'm glad you're here to support me, man. That's great. That's great. So I got another live stream I'm going to do here. Probably I'm going to wait, definitely for sure, probably until like 8:30 for sure. But I'm going to make it kind of quick here, because I'm already 14 minutes in. But Psycho 4, man. I mean, Norman's institutionalized. He gets out. He's married. Okay. So his wife is employed at the institution where he's at. And of course, they fall in love. It's kind of weird, but hey, I guess anything's possible, these days, or back in those days. But anything can happen. Anything's possible, no matter what year, what decade you're in. But I mean, they fall in love and everything else. And he here's on a talk show, here's on a radio show, the Fran Ambrose show, that she's talking about matricide, what makes boys kill their mothers. Okay. And I love I love CCH Pounder that plays Fran Ambrose. I thought she was great, great stuff by her. So she's, and we also get an appearance with John Landis, another great person in the business of entertainment. Uh, but he calls in there. He's telling his whole life story, which I thought was really interesting. Because it's something we've never seen before with Norman Bates. I probably really grew up until we got the actual um, Bates Motel show, which I've seen some of it. It's okay. It's not that, to me. I don't think it's that great, but I think the best incarnation of his story growing up was in the beginning, Cycle 4, the beginning. At this point, I love how it's told. I love how it's paced. Um, you know, and he does say he's going to have to kill again, and we do find out the reason why is because his wife. He says his wife, she let herself get pregnant. So basically, he impregnated his wife because she wanted to have she wanted them, the two of them, to have a family. And his whole thing was that he's so afraid to have another child because he wanted the baseline to end of him. He didn't want another monster brought in the world because he thinks his kid's going to end up becoming a monster just like him. And that's not necessarily true. But I think he was just so worried about it. So the climax is that he has Connie meet him over to his wife, Connie, meet him over at the Bates Motel. And they meet. And then all these flashbacks starts happening with him, with all the past victims he's killed when he was growing up. And ultimately, the house is getting engulfed in flames. And then Connie does, before that, Connie does convince him that he is not the killer that he was years ago, because that's not the person he is now anymore. And he, basically goes from room to room in the house, pours gasoline, and he lights it and ignites it and stuff like that. And things happen. And that was the end of it. And, just some great stuff, man. I mean, this was not in theater. It was aired on Cinemax, I believe. But some great, great stuff. I mean, this is good stuff, guys. You can't go wrong with these films. And I got them. I got this on Blu-ray, DVD, and then the 3-pack years ago when Best Buy pretty much first opened up, about 3 or 4 years after it opened up. They had a huge movie section. Of course, they don't got movie sections anymore. They are Best Buy, at least where I'm at. But I got this, and I said, "Hey, I got to get these, man." It's got Part 4 in it, which is my second favorite, along with Psycho 2. But yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with these films. If you're looking for a high body count, you're not going to get that with these films. The setting, I love the setting, the Bates Motel and the Bates home out in the middle of nowhere. Great stuff. I love the whole atmosphere of that, especially with Psycho 3. It is a lot of fun, especially when they have that, homecoming football party, and, somebody gets, off and whatnot. I mean, these are great stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong with them. I like the whole story buildup of it. I like everything, and what can you do? I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but my neighbor is in his backyard over here, and he's got family over. He's talking, but probably both a family member or somebody, one of his family members on the phone. But you probably hear it from time to time, the kid yelling and screaming, maybe a little bit, but hey, it's okay. But yeah, these are some great films. I have yet to watch these for Scream Fest this year, and I'm thinking about starting one of these maybe tomorrow, sometime. We'll have to wait and see, or next week. But yeah, that's all I got to say. The Psycho franchise, you can watch the first 4 with Anthony Perkins. You can forget about the one with Vince Vaughn, but I would definitely love to give that one a try. I know it's gonna be hard to watch because it's almost like with Robert Englund. seeing the Jackie Earle Haley performance as Freddy in the 2010 Nightmare remake was god awful. The only time I've seen it was in theater, and that was it. I haven't seen it since. But yeah, these are definitely a must watch, man. Show them again. Definitely a must watch. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys back here later on with another live stream. And this next live stream I'm going to be doing tonight, it is going to be a top 20. So the only time you're going to know what this next live stream is going to be is in the title. So stick around. See you guys back later. Take care.